What's going on, Fan Addict family? Welcome to another episode of the Stat Line brought to you by the Stat Guy, where we talk all things Gamecock football. It's Vandy week. We got to talk Lenore's. We got to talk this offensive line, and we got much, much more. Be right back with you right after the intro. Spin it.
And he's not had a pass. Look at this. Fourth down. He's not had a snap. Here comes that pressure. Lofts it up, looking for Kelly. Touchdown! Can you believe it?
Let's go. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's Vandy week. But before we get going with Vandy, we got some stuff to talk about. Has it ever felt so bad to be 2-0, ranked 11th in the country as a South Carolina fan? For me, man, it's been a disappointing start. You have these high expectations, playoffs, potentially SEC conference championship game, Lenore's in the Heisman race. And while we're 2-0, we have not taken care of business outside of the wins and losses. Lenore is so far on the year, 23 of 38, completing 60% of his passes, down from about 66% last year, for 337 yards, only 2 touchdowns, 21 rushes, 48 yards with another touchdown. Look, I know they were talking the hype before the season, best quarterback in the SEC, sellers for Heisman, La Superman, all the nicknames, but this can't be the start that he has imagined. End of the day, it really doesn't matter. His size, his raw potential, the NFL, I believe, will still be there at the end of the year. But what does Lenore's have to do, A, for South Carolina to keep winning football games, and B, to put up some better stats to get himself back in the Heisman race or even in the race to be considered one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC? So where for me it starts is you have to be willing to take some chances. One thing I've noticed this year is Sellers will throw to open guys, but he won't throw his guys open. We've seen several times wide receivers coming across the middle. Week 1, very first play of the season, you have Mazio Bennett Jr. coming wide open across the middle. Instead, he takes the little dump down to the tight end. Yeah, we get 14 yards on the play, but what could have been? We see the deep shot week 1 to Nick Harbor, one-on-one, no safety over the top. It's just an automatic kill, and that's fine. But where the plays throughout the game in that 15 to 17 yard range? Where's the plays that were taking some chances? Or where's Lenore's just looking to be aggressive with his legs? Obviously, the offensive line has not done their job so far this year. We knew that was going to be a weakness going into the season. And personally, I believe that they may be even a little bit further behind schedule than where we thought they were going to be. In the SEC, you have to win the line of scrimmage. Whether it's O-line, D-line, you have to win the line of scrimmage. And unfortunately, even in the South Carolina State game, we're not getting that push. We're not moving the line of scrimmage and creating a new line. Look at Benji getting in. Pavia versus Sellers. Give me the taco. Hey, Ben, I appreciate you jumping in and stopping by for us. Man, no way does Diego come into South Carolina to Willie B, to the home of La Heisman, and have a better game than him, much less come away with the dub. But I appreciate you stopping by and getting in. JV, what's going on? Appreciate you stopping by, JV, man. Appreciate you stopping by to hear about these Gamecocks. Hey, I've said it since the beginning of the year. I want them dogs in Atlanta for the conference championship game. I'm going to keep speaking into existence. If I don't believe it, nobody else will. But yeah, man, this O-line. So for me, the big thing is you're looking at a unit that replaced 3 guys from last year, a unit that gave up 33 sacks. While it was better than the year before where they gave up 51, still not great numbers when you're talking about overall offensive lines. And so now we've already seen Lenoir get sacked 5 or 6 times already this year. And we're kind of back in that same thing where you're looking, what do they have to do to get better? Do they need to simplify things? Do they need to just get away and move Lenoir completely out of the pocket and it be one read and then run? What do they need to do to protect the offensive line? Shorty getting in. Hey, appreciate you stopping by. Shorty. But yeah, to me, the big thing, the end of the day thing when it comes to the O-line is they made a comment after the South Carolina State game at home that they couldn't hear the calls and didn't know what was going on in a home game. And so that scares me because if you can't get the calls when we're the home team, what are we going to do when we go to Oxford? What are we going to do when we go to Mizzou? What are we going to do when we go to A&M? And what are we going to do when we go to Baton Rouge? Because those places are all going to be loud. And if we can't get these calls in at home, then there's no way we're going to be able to execute on the road. And so for that, I think this week we see them simplify things. I really expect them to probably move the pocket by getting Lenoir just out of there and then allowing him one read and just take off. What progressions have I seen in Sully's game? I'll be honest, this year, I think it's kind of the same, if not a step back. I mean, you look at his completion percentage is lower. I think the one progression you may say is he's staying in the pocket a little bit longer, but he doesn't really have the pocket awareness that you're expecting from a true pocket passer. The release isn't as fast as it needs to be if you're a true pocket passer. He doesn't know when to step up or when to get out of there. And so for me, with Sellers' overall game, I actually don't think there's been a progression. I think it's kind of a stalemate from what we saw towards the end of last year. And while that's fine, that's obviously not a Heisman Trophy winner. That's not somebody that's the best quarterback in the SEC. But that is a quarterback that's going to allow South Carolina to have a very good season and win football games. The noise got to him. That's what they say. They said that it was so loud in Willie B. They didn't. And I'm like, how are you not used to what's going on in your own stadium? And so that was the shocker to me. Like, even if that's true, there's no way you come out and say that to the media. Like, there's no way you come out and tell the media, man, it was too loud in the home game. We didn't know what was going on. I was absolutely dumbfounded by that. So obviously the hype that's going to be talked about this week, everybody's talking about Pavia Sellers. It's selling tickets. I know that. I mean, earlier this week, the get-in price for the game was sitting at like $230, $240. And in comparison, Clemson and South Carolina tickets, the get-in price is $250. There's no way Vandy should be anywhere near Clemson when it comes to a South Carolina football game for tickets. But people are wanting to see these two quarterbacks battle it out, which I always find funny because no matter what one does, it doesn't affect what the other one does. They don't play against each other. They don't see each other. Diego's going against our defense. Sellers obviously against the Vandy defense. It's just kind of a mano-a-mano thing, but they don't actually have to compete head-to-head with each other. So let's talk about Vandy for a second. We had some guys from Vandy since this offseason. Obviously, Diego came out and said in the offseason, if he circled one game, what would it be? He said he wouldn't say the team, but he said it was the third game of the season. Didn't take rocket science to look. It's at Willie B. He said they're coming here for revenge. You then have their starting offensive tackle on Monday say, yeah, I mean, Dylan Stewart, he's whatever. This is the guy that's lining up across from Dylan Stewart that's going to be in charge of blocking him all night. So we'll definitely see what that looks like. I don't know if I would call who I consider the best defensive edge in the country just whatever. But again, if you're not believing it, who is? Stevie G getting in, saying Pavia Magic. He's got Vandy. I appreciate the comments. Again, there is no way Vandy is rolling into Columbia and leaving with a win. I don't care. There is zero chance that that happens. South Carolina might not cover the spread. The game might look ugly, but there is zero chance that Vandy escapes Columbia with the win. I can promise you that off rip. But yeah, so I'm really excited to see this defense of South Carolina go against Pavia. Pavia is running a little bit less this year. We're seeing more of the arm game from him. So it'll be interesting to see the defensive line for South Carolina going up against that Vandy offensive line, which has looked good the first 2 weeks. Then you also have the linebackers of South Carolina. It's a brand new room, completely rebuilt from a year ago. They're active, they're athletic, and they just get after it. And then obviously you have the South Carolina secondary. And while it is banged up, you got playmakers, you got guys you're comfortable with in that room that you feel like you don't care how deep you go. We love our secondary. Shorty, so Sellers outplay Pavia. Vandy still wins. There is no chance that Vandy wins. I think Pavia could outplay Sellers, but make a mistake or two that ends up costing them. I believe the defense and or special teams is what wins the game for South Carolina. I'm hoping that Sellers has the breakout performance. I would love to see him have a huge night, but I just don't know if our offense is built for him to do that. Now, obviously, he could put on the Superman cape and get crazy, but I just don't know if that's what he's able to do. Appreciate Fanatic Sports getting in. Appreciate you, Coach. Hey, make sure you hit the like button. Bring a friend with you next time. Like I said, we talk Gamecock football on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. I got Coach I on the phone. What's going on, Coach?
Man, chilling, man. I got a question about Sellers. So you said, you talked about his performance. Do you think he's trying to be more of a pocket passer this year, or not pulling the trigger, I guess you would say, trying to impress the scouts for NFL, or is it all the hype getting to him? Because, Sellers was probably outside of Arch Manning, the most hyped quarterback, coming into the year.
Yeah, and I think it's just like everything thrown into the mixing bowl. I think you got a little bit of everything. Now, there were rumblings saying that he went to Shula after this last Saturday and said he wanted 15 design run plays a game. So I don't know if I'm buying that. I think that's way too many on top of the plays he's going to have to run just to avoid sacks. I think that's putting the ball in his hands rushing-wise way too much. But definitely, I think heading into this year, he wanted to prove that he could stand back there and sling it. The NFL scouts know what they're getting with him, which is his pure size, his speed, his running ability. So I really think that he wanted to prove that he could stand in the pocket and sling it with the best of them. But unfortunately, that's not his game. His game is getting outside the pocket, extending plays, finding open receivers within extending plays, and making stuff happen. And so I think, go ahead.
You think going down the line, if the offense doesn't look as explosive or as productive as it did last year, you think he'll, revert back?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think, and if the conversation that he had with Shula is true of him wanting to run the ball 15 times a game minimum, if that's true, then we're going to see that anyway. If he's looking to get out there with the football in his hand, because even if he's running, I think it gives you in those RPO scenarios for him to keep his eyes downfield and see what's there before completely taking off. But with him just standing in the pocket, we talk about pocket awareness, not knowing when to step up, not having a feel for the pocket of when to get out of there, what side to leave on. And we've seen some of these sacks because he just holds the ball too long. And it's kind of the both sides of the coin. Our offensive line isn't great. You don't have all day to stand back there and try to find somebody. You either need to throw it into coverage and throw your guy open, or you need to get out of there and just take off and do what your legs are meant to do.
Well, you said he asked Shula, the word is he asked Shula for more running plays. With Shula's first year, I know he was on staff last year, but you think Mike Shula taking over the offense may have something more to do with it than per se, Sellers trying to look out for his NFL career, or Sellers, letting the hype get to him. Maybe it's Shula and the play caller.
Yeah, no, I definitely think if we got the offense we wanted, it was going to be 2015 Carolina Panthers. Shula was on staff. I believe he was the OC that year. Cam Newton won the MVP, but we don't have an NFL offensive line. Our tight ends are okay, but it's just completely different, right? Like you can't just say, "Oh, this is what we're going to do," when you don't have those pieces. It's a lot easier to say that when you're in the NFL versus a good college team, maybe even better than good in certain positions. So I think that's where the hype was coming into the season. Oh, Shula's just going to turn Sellers into Cam Newton. And man, not for not, like, even if you're talking 2010 Cam Newton might be one of the best college football seasons, individual performance-wise, we've ever seen.
Right.
So it's like you can't just say, oh, this is who we want him to be. And I think that's what the problem is like, if you take the hype out of it, if you say South Carolina was 18-22, which is where I felt we should have been ranked in the preseason, if you take that out, we're ranked 18-22. They're not crowning Lenoris as the Heisman favorite heading into the season, and we're 2-0 heading into this week. There's no problems. You've taken care of business. You're ready to start conference play. Let's get better. But because we have all the hype heading into the season, we had the high ranking, we had Lenoris being crowned as one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, a Heisman frontrunner, and now even though you're 2-0, you haven't dominated outside of special teams in either game, and you've kind of been in some dogfights with teams you shouldn't be in dogfights with. And so now it's back to the drawing board, and you wonder what's going on in that locker room. One thing I will say is I'm a huge Beamer fan, and I fully expect Beamer to have control of the locker room and those guys to be bought in to the process of what they're trying to do. And so while we haven't looked great, I don't think that's the end-all be-all of the season.
Okay. Well, so where are y'all going to hurt Vandy the most? Because Vandy right now, I mean, if we just go by the Virginia Tech game, they look like a complete team.
Yeah, so where we can hurt Vandy the most is going to be just so far we haven't turned the ball over this year. And that's huge heading into SEC play. Lenoris has fumbled once or twice. We've recovered it. 0 interceptions on the year. And so I believe us taking care of the ball, playing field position with Vandy, turning it into a defensive game. While Vandy, I do like their defense, one thing South Carolina has hung their hat on the last couple years defensively is they don't just like to create chaos. They like to play in chaos. And so they're very optimistic. And so when you have a team that loves the chaos, loves that side of the moment, I just think that we're going to see them create some magic going against Diego, whether it's a pick six, whether it's a strip sack from Dylan Stewart, just whatever the case may be. I think we're going to see them make something happen.
So the next two games, Vandy and Mizzou, Sellers going to have a Heisman moment?
I think for us to win at Mizzou, he is going to have a Heisman moment. Unfortunately, I mean, because of what he's able to do, to me, it's not necessarily a Heisman moment, but you can take any of his runs where he avoids a sack and turns it into 25 yards and say it's a Heisman moment. Now, does he do it against Vandy in the sense of like it's the final drive like against Clemson? If we need it, I believe he could. I just don't expect us to be in that situation in the fourth quarter against Vandy where he has to make that play.
I got it, man. Y'all got a lot of home games this year, you know what I'm saying? Vandy circled y'all in the offseason. Y'all got Oklahoma coming to town, Bama coming to town. Y'all going undefeated at Willie B this year?
While I would love to say we are going undefeated at Willie B this year, there is a game in November that we haven't beaten that team for a daggum long time in Willie B. Hopefully that streak ends this year, but I do not know if I'd be willing to say that we're going undefeated at Willie B this year.
All right.
Shorty getting in. I don't think they'll bring many possessions for both teams. Think it'll be a slow-paced game unless the quarterback makes a big play. See, I'm right there with you. I think both teams are going to just kind of make it sloppy, grind it out, running game, living off the defense. And I think South Carolina is totally fine in that. I think that game kind of plays into South Carolina's hands of who they are and how they're going to win football games. One thing I am kind of shocked about is last year, our defense won us football games and put us in positions for Lenoir to make big-time plays and put himself on big-time moments. This year, heading into the year, I thought our defense could keep us in games and give Lenoir a chance to win football games for us. And after 2 weeks, I think we're looking at the same situation we were at last year, where Lenoir needs to take care of the football and let our defense win football games for us. And I'm absolutely shocked that that's what I'm thinking 2 weeks in with what I was thinking heading into the season.
So what kind of game you think Lenoir has this Saturday, and Nick Harbor? Because you didn't talk a lot about Nick Harbor tonight.
Yes. So after Nick's 64-yard touchdown against Tech week 1, he had 0 catches against South Carolina State. Actually, so far, Lenoir has been throwing the ball 19 times a game. I think we still kind of sit right about there. He went 12 for 19 and then 11 for 19. So I'm actually going to say that he's going to get his passing percentage back up to where it should be. I'm going to take him going 15 for 19. I don't think the numbers necessarily look great off of that. So I'm going to go 15 for 19 with about 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. But I am going to have him with 21 carries, doubling the amount of carries that he has. So getting the same amount of carries he has after 2 games in 1 game, 21 carries for 105 yards. And I'm going to give him another 2 TDs on the ground.
Okay. What about Nick though? Is he going to get in this action?
Yeah, I think Nick gets him one. I think Nick's probably in like the 4 to 5 catches. I think they're going to target Nick. Whether it's right or wrong, I think we're going to see them kind of force the issue to Nick. So I got them targeting him a good bit. I think he's in that 4 to 5 catch ratio, 90 to 110 yards receiving with 1 of the 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, not a bad day at the office for Nick Harbor if you look at it. So,
right. You got the freshman wide receivers playing. Any of them going to make a statement on Friday? Maybe a coming out party type thing?
Well, the one good thing is I told you all offseason, I promised you by SEC play, one of the true freshmen would be starting opposite of Nick Harbor. That is happening. Donovan Murphy is getting the second start of his career this week. And I just don't see him letting go of that position. I think we see one of the freshmen, whether it's Murph or Brian Rowe Jr. Backing up Mazio Bennett at the slot. I could see one of them. Maybe it's not a big play, but a big first down catch. Coming down with a big catch to move the chains and keep a drive going somewhere in that second or third quarter when you're trying to get some momentum.
Well, you know who I'm looking for. I need Neff to get his first touchdown this weekend.
Yeah. So obviously, Mazio not targeted at all week 1. You could call it one. It was a thrown away ball, whatever. And then week 2 did come away with 2 catches for 13 yards. So we'll see if they're looking to the slot. Unfortunately, because of the offense, you're looking at a lot of stuff to the running backs, a lot of stuff to the tight ends. And that's just kind of how the offense runs for South Carolina on top of then running the ball. That's not so. The weird thing about that, Shawty, I appreciate the question, is we'll run like the jet sweep touch pass, so like the sweep reverse to him, but they don't run that little quick pop pass And the reason why is because if they're not pressing, it's better off to just let him get a free run down the field and use his speed to run past the defender, because he's never going to make that guy miss coming downhill. So if the DB's playing 4 or 5 yards off, if we throw it to him at the line, he's never making that guy miss. That's just not his MO. It would definitely increase his catch percentage, but I don't see why. I mean, if I'm a defender, I'm totally fine playing 5 yards off of him if you're throwing it to him at the line of scrimmage, because now you're taking his biggest weapon, which is his speed, completely out of the picture. You're just letting me come down, wrap him up, and make the tackle. He's not breaking that. He doesn't have the hips for it. He is too. But the thing is, he's going to be so worried about catching the ball. I think the DB just going to crash down on him and hit him. I don't think he's going to be able to even get the head of steam going to where he can try to truck somebody. And not for naught, I'm going to say it. If Nick was like that, if his mentality was like, get me the ball at the line of scrimmage, I'll just run through everybody. If that was Nick Harbor's mentality, he'd be playing on the defensive end and would be the 5-star athlete that everybody thought he was coming out of high school. I like him at wide receiver. I think he has a unique skill set and he definitely has size. But if he had a little bit of that dog mentality in him, I think we'd be seeing him opposite of Dylan Stewart on that D-line.
So what's the Gamecock Nation feeling right now? Are they like you? Because you sound kind of practical right now, but you follow them all on social media. What the Gamecock Nation feeling like right now?
Man, there's some like me that are like, look, this has potential to be a great team. There's some that don't care, whatever. We're 2-0. We did what we were supposed to do. Nothing within the game matters. Only the result matters. And then you got our favorite Gamecock fans. Man, we beaten Vandy 52-0. Old sister of the poor school from Tennessee. Bring them to town. Bring everybody to town. We're going to LSU, winning by 14. Yeah, I love me some of them Gamecock fans. But look, man, end of the day, we're 2-0. We're where we need to be. So that's kind of a big thing. I think the majority of the fan base is realistic that we haven't played to the standard that we all thought we would play coming into the year. And we need to get to that standard, and we need to get there quick if we want to accomplish the goals that I believe the fan base and the players inside the locker room have set for themselves before this season started.
Well, during Beamer's tenure, y'all have been, counted out, not looked at. You're able to, like last year, I think in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, y'all was picked 12 or 13th out of 16 teams or something like that.
14th.
So, you was able to come up on everybody and nobody saw you coming. But now, all season, man, keep it a buck. Y'all was getting a lot of press in the off season. So you think as far as the program itself, the players, the coaches, everybody, it's different when you got that target on your back.
Yeah, I told you all off season I didn't want it. I wanted us to be 18th to 22nd if we were even ranked. I would have been fine being ranked like 26th, 27th. Right. And the problem is when you're South Carolina and you have hype, we don't win. It's not just that we haven't won big games. We need to win them. We lose to teams that have no business beating us. I mean, you look back at 2013, we have a chance to make the BCS championship and we get beat at home to a Tennessee team that finished 5-7. I mean, it's just bad losses. And it's not just this new age of during Spurrier's run or during Muschamp or during Beamer. I mean, you can take it back to the 80s. 1984, we're ranked number 2 in the country, and we get beat by Navy. What are we like? Come on, you're an independent. You ain't got nothing to worry about. All you got left is to beat Clemson. You're golden, and you get beat by Navy. Season over. And it's so for Gamecock fans, it's rough because this is a game that I could see us losing. This game is going to show a lot culture-wise of, even though Vandy's better than their fans will tell you it's not your daddy's Vanderbilt. I don't think it matters. Vandy is still Vandy. But this is a game you have to win just to prove from the culture standpoint you beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
Right.
So I will let you know another thing I want to touch on is something to watch for this Saturday is Vakari Swain, number 4, our punt returner, given the nickname Vakari Ferrari, will be looking to tie NCAA history, becoming only the second player to return a punt for a touchdown in 3 consecutive games, tying Dante Pettis from 2017 Washington Huskies. He's already got 3 punt returns on the year for touchdowns. The NCAA record for a single season is only 5. You would have to think that could potentially be up in the works if people are going to punt to him. And me and you were talking, something that's been very unique about these is it feels like people are kicking to the sideline to him. And South Carolina's just been like, hey, dog, you make the first guy miss. We're going to be over here setting the wall of all walls for you on this other sideline. You get over here. We'll see you over here.
Right.
And
that's because watching the game again. Shout out to Vakari, man. He's definitely athletic, definitely a playmaker. But what I will say is, out of all the punt returns we've seen in recent years, these punt returns, and they're like literally carbon copies of each other. Catch it on the left sideline, run right. And like you said, it's almost like in the huddle, the fellas is like, hey, man, we're not going to be blocking when you catch the ball. Just make that guy miss. Come meet us over on the right sideline. We got you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what happened in the South Carolina State game. Guy misses a tackle. He hit the wall. It didn't like there was no South Carolina State people over there, but it didn't matter if they were anyway because it was just a wall. You know what I'm saying? So I'm interested to see like if he catches one like in the middle of the field, how that looks. Now, is he a jitterbug? Can he make people miss in the phone booth type deal? But shout out to Beamer, special teams guru. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And so that's what I think kind of separates us from Vandy this weekend is because on top of that, with the 2 punt return touchdowns last week, we also blocked a punt last week as well. And so it's like we're getting after it on the punting. You're starting a redshirt freshman at punter. You're starting a senior that's never played before as your place kicker. You have a true freshman doing your kickoffs. And so it's like you have a brand new special teams unit that you've pieced together, and all they're doing is looking great. Punter's averaging just shy of 50 yards a punt through 2 games. Like these guys are just out there doing what they're supposed to do. Because end of the day, it's Beamer ball. And we know one thing, if they're not looking great on offense or defense, we know that they're going to shine when it comes to special teams.
So you normally tell me, I'm saying about a first play or a trick play. Is Beamer running trick plays Saturday, or are you guys trying to beat Vandy straight up? Or because that's kind of Beamer, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Look, if the game dictates it where we fake a punt or something, I won't hate it. I don't need to see any Mighty Ducks like Flying V type madness like Clemson tried to pull on us a couple years ago. I don't need to see the Nick Harbor triple reverse or the halfback pass. Like what against Tennessee a couple years ago, we tried a halfback sweep to our 6'5", 330-pound defensive tackle and had him throw the ball out of the halfback sweep. I don't need to see that. Like I'm good on all that stuff. Go out there, line up, run the zone read option, throw the ball around a little bit and see what's shaking offensively. If you don't get it moving, go to the defense, be like, hey, it looks like I'm buying y'all steak again tomorrow night, and tell them to go win you the damn football game.
All right, man. I appreciate it, dope.
Yeah, I appreciate you jumping in. So I will let you know the something else to kind of look forward to. So far in the year, Dylan Stewart does have 2 sacks, getting a sack in each game. I expect that number to double this week with Dylan getting another 2 sacks against Pavia, one of those being a critical sack, I think, to ice the football game. Beamer better save the shit for later in the season when he needs it. Look, I don't put nothing past Beamer. It would not surprise me if Vandy won the coin toss and took the football if we tried to onside kick. And I would hate that being at home under the lights. There's no need for it. But hey, you take the good, you got to live with the negative. But Beamer is definitely with it. He will pull out anything that he thinks will work. He's willing to try. So let's get into these predictions, giving y'all my score prediction, how I think this game's actually going to play out. Look, end of the day, I tried to sell it to make it look like Vandy could make this thing a game, but not just anybody's rolling into Willie B, 7:45 under a Carolina moon on the SEC network and giving us a football game. This game is over after the first quarter. South Carolina is going to end up winning this game 38-10. You're going to see Lenoris with 4 touchdowns on the day. You're then going to also see Vakari Swain tie the NCAA record by returning a punt for a touchdown for the 3rd game in a row. And then Pavi and the boys are going to pack the bags, jump on the bus for a sad bus ride back to Tennessee, thinking about what if maybe we shouldn't have been running that mouth all off season. But look, other than that, man, y'all drop y'all score predictions in the comments, and we'll see what y'all got cracking. Oh, my guy Coach I is saying South Carolina 24, Vandy 14. Look, man, I will take the double-digit win. And look, as y'all can see on the screen, next week for Mizzou, special guest Corey Bridges, former South Carolina Gamecock himself, going to be in the house with me. Make sure y'all tune in. If it's y'all's first time stopping by the Fan Attic, you can catch college football SEC content Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday and Wednesday with the Fan Attic Snap Count, where we talk all things SEC, Monday being our reaction show, Wednesday being our previews and prediction. On Tuesday night, stop in and see my guys for Respect the Hedges, where they talk all things UGA. Bunch of former players, fans, they get rowdy in there. So if you want to see the Georgia content, make sure you stop and see them on Tuesdays. And then, of course, you got me every Thursday with the stat line, with the stat guy, talking all things South Carolina Gamecocks. Shorty, I see you 27-10, South Carolina. Man, your comments making me think that you were taking Vandy. I appreciate you showing some love to the Gamecocks with the big win. I would take a 27-10 win. I think it's a little bit more than that. I think we end up punching them boys in the mouth. Look, if you're part of the replay gang, make sure you like the video, drop a comment. Let me know what your score prediction is. Love to interact with fans in the comments. I'm your guy, the stat guy. This has been the Stat Line. We'll see you next time. Go Cox!